Hello. Right, attempt number
8.
Pagan Norseman here. For those of you that often watch my videos, you'll know that this is, and follow my links, you'll know that this is Bipsy and a Broom. We've decided to do this video together if we can manage to get through the whole thing without taking a piss out of each other and laughing, in regards to my quite recent decision, i.e. about half an hour ago, that I'm going to become vegetarian. I'm toying with the idea of becoming fully vegan, but it all depends on whether I can live with not having milk in my coffee. I appreciate there's non-dairy whiteners and such like, and soya milk and that, but soya milk just curdles and tastes like shit. So I'm toying with the idea. I'm also quite partial to an omelette. The reason we've been looking into this is, or I've been looking into this, is we took hold of an allotment, and I'm a big one for growing my own food. I like to know where my food comes from, this, that and the other. And we were on about getting some chickens, and we were on about getting ex-battery hens. Which, for those of you who don't know, battery hens are kept in appalling conditions, really.
Or to behave like machines.
Yeah, beaks cut off so that they don't peck each other or themselves and such. I'm not going to go into the details because it's horrific shit that I don't really need to tell you. If you want to know what a battery hen is, Google it. But I got put onto this video by her indoors.
It's not something I forced onto you, though, is it?
No. But we were talking about it.
Yeah.
I've myself petitioned for Peter whenever I've got a chance.
Hang on, dog needs a wee.
Oh.
See, that would be animal cruelty.
Yeah. And I ended up watching this video that's narrated by Sir Paul McCartney, and it's called "If Slaughterhouses Had Glass Walls," and it made me nearly physically ill. So that kind of put the final nail in the coffin that I wasn't going to eat meat anymore. I mean, I've always been provident in the sense that I like to know where my meat comes from, and I tended to go to the butchers and source my, should we say, meaty products are in there because they can trace the meat back to the farm where it come from, and chances are they can trace the farm can trace the cat, I want to say cattle as an example, can trace the cattle back at least 3 or 4 generations with the records that are kept now. But
that only works if you're cooking your own meals.
Yes, yeah. A lot of the problem is obviously butchers, because they have all this information with them. The meat products are slightly more expensive compared to that of a supermarket. Now, I've spoken to kids. I say kids because obviously I'm getting an old man now, long beard and all this, and there's kids around our way that, or not just our way, but people I've spoken to
in general.
Yeah, kids I've spoken to in general.
When I say kids, McDonald's generation.
When I say kids, I mean kids, late teens, early 20s.
Yeah. And
you say to them, "What's a piece of beef?" And they go, "Well, it's a piece of beef." Where does it come from? It comes from the supermarket. Well, where does it come from before that goes into the supermarket? And they don't know. They cannot put 2 and 2 together and associate the fact that beef is beef, but it's also cow.
Yeah.
And the same with pork is pork, but it's also pig. And they just don't know. They think this food comes wrapped in cellophane without any form of means to get it there. It just appears on the supermarket shelves.
That's always been a bugbear for me.
Yeah.
That's always been. I'm probably going to get shot for uploading this video because my family are a Kentucky Fried Chicken family, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, because if they're not ashamed to eat it, I'm not ashamed to say my point. And my point is, do you have any gratitude for what Mother Earth has given you? No, because it comes from a fucking bucket. There is no
We're not.
I'm sorry.
We're not slandering Colonel Sanders. We just don't like your food.
No, it's.
In fact, we do like your food. We just don't like the ethics of your
behind
food.
the food. Yeah, for me, it's always been a health thing. I don't want this to become a Wicca vlog or a spiritual vlog or even a pissing contest, but for me it's been every time just a morsel of meat passes my lips, my mood is low. I look 9 months pregnant with my tummy swells badly, and I could go from a size 12, size 10, 12 to a size 18. You've never seen gas like it. I can fart like a sailor, just on half a sausage. But what's harder for me to digest is the whole idea that why can't meat be finished?
Yeah.
Good. Why can't we have beef at the high days and holidays? Why does it have to be every Sunday?
This is the thing. I mean, it would be different if you went out and you hunted the meat, you slaughtered the meat, and you know, you gave the meat a fair chance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was to go out with a rifle, and I could guarantee I was going to kill that deer with one shot through the heart, dead. The deer never knew it was coming. They hear bang, and they're gone. Fair enough. But the way the meat production market goes nowadays, they could be stood outside the slaughterhouse for anything up to 24, 48 hours before they even go in, and they can hear the screams of the previous animals as they go through this situation. Now we know that, you know, we're not trying to convert anybody. We're just explaining things from our point of view, because we thought we'd do a little bit of a, I won't say a light-hearted video, but a video more about us and how we've living our lives, you know, we understand. We've sat and we've watched documentaries and this and that and the other about the slaughter trade, and we know that they use the electroshock stunners, but apparently 9 times out of 10 they don't actually work.
I mean, I've worked along. I managed to single-handedly upset.
This is the prime example, because this one's got a slaughterman's license.
Yeah, to become a vet nurse, I had to get a slaughterman's license, and I've seen it from the inside. That's not. I mean, I've managed to single-handedly upset some kind of big important man of Malta. Actually, no, not Malta. Wherever they do the bullfights. Do you remember that?
It was Portugal.
Portugal.
And we both protested against bullfighting in Portugal,
and I had an email from him personally to say, please, Bibsy and her broom, can you just stop torturing me? And the law was overturned 6 months ago. And do you know what's really worrying is that there was nobody I could say, I'm proud of myself for doing this, look what I've done. Because people won't face it. And do you know what bugs the tits off of me? Is when people say, we're on a low income. We need to buy the 2 chickens for £10 from Tesco's and ignore the...
Hey, 3 for £5, isn't it?
Or 3 for £5 or whatever, I don't know, I don't buy it.
No, neither do I.
But it bollocks, complete and utter crap. You don't earn a lot. I don't bring in a lot.
No, I live on love.
You live on love, clearly.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously a very loving woman. We all know Bibsy and the broomsticks love him.
I was referring to the dog. Carry on. Dead air.
I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, makes a change.
Right, that's it.
What?
I'll finish what I was saying. Yeah, Peter, quite extremist, and I am prone to a bent of extreme, if I'm honest with you. And it's a bugbear with me. For instance, family, Christmas times, you go for a meal. Oh, actually, I don't eat meat. I'd rather not have meat on my plate if that's okay. Well, that's all right. We'll give you gravy. The meat was cooked. No, I'd rather not. Well, you're such a nuisance. And everywhere you go, if you go out with people, it's a big undertaking not eating meat, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. and they look at you like you got look at you like you got leprosy or something.
Yeah, yeah. And this isn't a fluffy bunny vlog, is it? It's not.
Well, no. I mean, like I said earlier on, I'm not trying to take this to a dark place. I'm trying to keep it slightly light-hearted. But for those of you that want to kind of experience what I'm talking about, take a look at the video on the PETA website. And it's called "If Slaughterhouses Had Glass Walls." I believe the video is actually up on YouTube, so you can probably find it through there. And it you know, we're not saying don't eat meat. We're not saying you have to live your life the way we live ours. But we're saying if you can watch that video and just appreciate what these animals are going through in order for you to have them cellophane wrapped and on your plate.
I mean, this is it. It's the cellophane wrap. You know, there's the pissy pork theory, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, the pissy pork theory is, I've witnessed it firsthand because I've cooked pork for him, and it's just atrocious. So, your little cellophane wrappers, if you pierce a hole in the wrapper and you smell it, and it smells full of ammonia, and the meat is stressed. The animal was stressed before they died. It's almost like you can smell the fear. But the proteins break down in the meat a lot quicker, hence pissy pork. And that's just, and I think it's possibly a good thing that you've given up meat anyway, because I'm sick and tired of cooking your meat, not being able to taste it because I just couldn't bring myself to taste it, and then for you to kind of say, well, it was crap. You know, and I'm thinking, well, do I crumble my own foundations? But also I was watching him slowly kill himself because it is so much easier to eat meat. It is easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Or at least it used to be. Not so much now. The range of meat-free products now is far better than it was 5 years ago even. But what you need to do is you need to sit and you need to ask yourself, it's all very well eating a cow or a pig or a chicken, duck, whatever, but would you eat me? Would you really sit there and quite happily say, yes, I would eat you without any hazard of a doubt? Because quite frankly, dogs are animals. We're all animals. You could argue the case that you could eat a human being as much as you would eat this one, or you would eat this one, or you would eat any other form of animal.
But you would also have that animal put down in a decent way, wouldn't you? You would take that dog to the animal,
yeah, but
to the vet. You would
but this is the whole point of the provenance, because if you were having the meat that was provenantly done...
But can you prove that?
No, you cannot prove it, but you can. It is slightly better than getting the mass-produced shit that they put on supermarket shelves. And the reason this meat is so cheap is because the animal has no form of welfare whatsoever. The reason provenant meat is more expensive is because of the way the herd...
It sounds to me like you're trying to justify eating meat.
No, I'm not trying to... I'm giving all options open to anybody to live their life the way they want to do it, because I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to preach to people and say...
Can I play devil's advocate a minute though?
Yeah, go on.
Which is the whole point of these discussions, isn't it?
Yeah.
I couldn't afford for you to have provenant meat.
No, exactly, which is why I've given it up.
Yeah, we couldn't afford it, and I don't think any of you could. And the government have got you by the short and curlies. And they've gone, there's another way of being provenant and animal welfare, but do you know what? We're going to charge you through the ass for it. But what about if you had your Sunday roast and you had a free-range corn-fed chicken, but you didn't have meat for 4 extra nights? What about doing it that way? It's habit. It's habit. And it's going to be habit for this one.
The trick of it is to not say, I'm going to give up meat, because that's not for anybody to say. But the trick is to say, I'm going to appreciate where my food comes from.
Yeah, very much.
That goes for vegetables, fish.
Hey, fucking man. Come on, we've got to be silly together.
I'm surprised you're not singing sitting on the toilet. That's normally the normal one.
Sitting on the toilet.
Um,
Sitting on the toilet.
Not gone again. Yeah, it's just being aware of where your food comes from.
Yeah.
Which is why I personally like to grow my own, because I appreciate every single vegetable that goes into my mouth. It tastes better. It doesn't. You don't really notice the difference.
I do.
You don't. It's also, I think it's a lot of it's psychological.
No. You gave me
a
hot house tomato.
Obviously,
and one of your grown tomatoes.
Obviously, it's going to be slightly different because you're not having.
Your grown vegetables is you don't cook, clearly.
No, shush, shush minute.
Can I just do a wife beating advocacy video?
Shush.
Did you shush me? Shush.
No, it's gone now. Carry on. It'll come back to me in a minute.
I don't think there's any way that you can say supermarket hothouse vegetables is as good as homegrown vegetables. It's not.
No, I never said that. What I said was homegrown veg is always going to taste slightly better, even if it's not.
Well, it's always got the satisfaction behind it.
Yeah, yeah. It's all doesn't you nothing beats a pod of peas straight off the pod straight in your mouth.
That's good fun in the summer. I love doing that.
Exactly. I'm going to sit back a bit because I'm fed up with you leaning on me.
Sorry.
Let's just spin the camera that bit a little bit. That's it. So like I said, once again, nobody's trying to convert you. We're not trying to say this is the way you need to live your life. But just have a little bit of appreciation for where your food comes from. And that's all food, not just meat, vegetables.
Yeah, it's... You would be surprised, because I don't eat meat and I haven't eaten meat for a very long time, how I don't waste food. I don't waste food.
This is going to end up one of this you and me having a discussion things, isn't it, on a camera?
Well, no, because this one can't go on for very long. But there's only... For instance, if I was to buy... Sometimes I'm guilty. I'll admit to you, Cameron, I'll probably cry admitting this. But because I cannot bring myself to eat meat, it winds up one of two ways. He will have a prominent piece of meat for his tea and I won't have shit. Because the money can only go one of two ways. So maybe a bowl of cereal. But if I do have food for me and food for him from shopping, he will sometimes, and has sometimes, wound up with Tesco's value beef. And I have had to put so much shit in that to make it taste half decent.
Again, not that we're slandering Tesco's.
I'm not slandering you, Mr. Tesco's man.
But we
probably
are really, because your food's crap.
But why can't you, Mr. Tesco's man, sat in your big offices, do something about it? Help matters.
But that's not the thing, though, because it's not the supermarkets that need to change their way. It's the consumer.
It's us.
Yeah.
And
as long as we're willing to ignore, going back to the 2 for a $5 chickens, if we're willing, if the consumer are willing to ignore what the chickens go through in order to save a buck, then Tesco's are going to keep supplying them at that price.
And I don't think we're ever.
If the consumer turned around, you can tap me and point. If a consumer turned around and said, actually, no, we don't want this, Tesco's would start losing money hand over fist and would have no choice. And that's not just Tesco's, it's Asda, everywhere. All supermarkets. I'm not using Tesco's.
Takeaway joints.
I'm not using Tesco's as a whole and sole example. It's just, it's one of the biggest companies out there in the UK at the moment. If Tesco's were to go with what the consumer says and the consumer said we don't want this, Tesco's would be losing money.
But another bugbear for me though is, and I reckon you guys will agree with me here, because I don't eat meat, when I've got a lot of bills on my plate at the month, do you know there are some days or some weeks when I eat jack shit because I can't buy a box of music because it's £4.50. I can't justify £4.50. I cannot justify that. You know, fresh fruit and vegetables is on average £40 a week, at least, for this house to have fresh fruit and veg every day, and that's our 5 portions. If I didn't have that, I'd dread to think you know, I do make a very good point. But they don't make it easy.
No, they don't.
To feed a family on very little money.
No,
and I think that pisses me off. So Mr. Government, Mr. Fat Cat, sat up there, Mr. Coca-Cola and Mr. Additives that put salt deliberately in your products so that they have to go and drink more and more and more. Thanks for that, mate. You're doing us all a great honour. Doing us all a great service.
You poked me eye out.
Sorry, you're doing all the school kids a great service. You're doing well at that. I wouldn't want to feed my kids decent food either, eh? But as long as your kids get it, that's what matters. Sorry, I had to say that because I know what it's like trying to feed a family on very small cash. It's not easy. And they don't make it easy. They don't make it easy. And why? Why don't they? I don't get it because
it's profit margin.
Yeah.
But anyway, as this video is knocking on 21 minutes, we best leave it there. We might have to do a second part at a later date.
Yeah.
So this will go up on both channels.
And I think
I should have said at the beginning, as usual, links will be there and there.
But I think you should upload some videos of vegetarian cheap recipes.
Oh, could do. Or people could just Google them.
It would be quite funny to watch him cook.
I can't cook. I don't cook. If I'm never.
Well, thank you for bearing with us.
Yeah. So, a bit different to what we normally talk about, both of us. So, it's blessed be from me.
Blessed be from Bibsy and her broomstick.